So I'm from a very simple, humble, middle-class family, a low middle-class family. My mother used to be a school teacher. My father worked with airlines all his life. He was an immigrant from Pakistan. As a child, I was a bad student in school. And every social norm that said what kind of people will become successful said I will not become successful. But I did reach some kind of success. And today I want to talk about why in my journey and today as I look back, I realize that most people are leading a sort of a fake life, right? And I worry that these people are not going to lead a really good life and find success as they should get. I will narrate a few stories from my journey, from my life, and some from outside, and then share what my learnings are. For the first one, I'll take you back to 1998, December of 1998. I was in the US, I was in Chicago. I was sitting in the cabin of a lady called Barbara Gick, my colleague and good friend in Chicago. On the desk was a picture with two kids on it. And I said, oh, Barbara, lovely kids. And what are they doing? She said, they go to school. How do they go to school? They go in the school bus. I said, so young. And you have a 12-hour, 14-hour day. You let them go in the school bus? She said, yeah, it's quite safe. And I said, why is it safe? Because my mother-in-law is a school bus driver. Now, I almost fell off the chair. If there was somebody in India, including all of you, who was dating somebody or wanted to marry somebody, and realized that their mother or father was a bus driver, or an auto driver, or a vegetable seller, there is a good chance that that person might not marry that person. Here was a person who didn't just go and marry, but is taking pride and openly sharing it with me. Then my mother-in-law is a bus driver. Fast forward to 2010, approximately, a cousin of mine, whose son was about to decide to get married to a girl, whose father in a village used to run a grocery store. And there was a big hullabaloo in the family about how can you do this? How can we get this girl into our family because the cultures are very different. And many such incidents in my life have shown me how the problem is across the world, but it's much more large in India, where we do a lot of things to please the society, to fit into that mold that the society feels is success, which the society feels is right or wrong. But in my experience, I realized nothing is right or wrong. Nothing is good or bad. As long as you're going towards your goal, the larger picture, it will all fit in. So that was one story. The second story, my sister is a doctor, lives in Newcastle in UK. And in my last job in British Telecom, I used to be in London all the time, and my family and I were traveling to Newcastle to be with my sister. And when we travel, we don't travel light with family. So we had some 6-7 suitcases. And I called my sister and I said, we are going to land at the Newcastle station, but we have a lot of luggage. And you have a good car, but it's one car. And maybe we'll take a taxi or something to bring the luggage. And she said, don't worry, you just land and we'll figure it out. So we reached the station, and there's my sister, her husband who's a doctor, and there's a third white Brit guy. And we thought also must be a doctor friend of theirs. And they said, oh, meet John. I said, oh, hi, John. We brought John because John has a huge car and nice car and all that. So, great. So we put most of the luggage in John's car, came home. John didn't come inside, just left the luggage and left. I said, thanks, John, thanks for coming. This was a weekend. Next morning, my sister and her husband go off to work. They used to work with NHS as doctors. And as a family, we are sitting in the house alone, chilling, watching TV, talking. And a car drives in. It's the same big car that came yesterday to pick us up. And John is driving. And there's a lady sitting next to him. And John comes in and says, hey, how are you? Good, John. I was embarrassed to ask him, what are you doing here? But John walks into the backyard. And the lady comes in and says, "Hey, I'm Jill. You must be your brother." Yeah. Okay, all right, I knew you were coming. And Jill also goes in. And a few minutes later, I realize that John is the gardener. And Jill is the domestic help. And Jill starts cleaning, and the real excitement comes later. So John takes out the lawnmower, goes and starts mowing the lawn. And Jill is cleaning. And in about an hour, Jill comes and says, "Will you have tea or coffee?" I say, No, it's fine. I'm going to have. Yeah, sure, go ahead. And Jill goes, makes a cup of coffee for herself, a coffee for John, a sandwich for herself, and comes and sits right next to my wife on the sofa. Now, we are aghast, right? There's this maid who's sitting with us on the sofa, takes the remote, changes the channel, starts eating a sandwich. We can't say anything, say, okay, whatever. My sister's made a wrong choice of hiring some really rude person. They leave, we say bye. In the evening, my sister and my brother-in-law come and they say, "Perhaps you guys don't know, and we must tell you, that these people that you've hired are very rude and they're taking undue advantage." I said, "Why, what happened?" "Well, she came in, she's making tea, she's making sandwiches, and she's sitting on the sofa with us and eating." And my sister, who's been there at that time, had been there for 30 years, said, "And what's the problem in this?" So, again, as I compare it, right, what is right or wrong in one country is very different from another country. And a lot of times in India, we don't accept things because society looks down upon it. What will people say? My child is marrying somebody or is friends with somebody whose parent is an auto rickshaw driver, or if the maid is sitting with me on the sofa, and so on and so forth. But why is it that in the West it's a lot more open than it is in India? And I'm not saying one country is better than the other. I've spent enough time in both countries. Both have their pros and cons. At some level, the problem is global, but it is much larger in India. It is a place where we as parents and our parents have conditioned us. When people ask me even now, "Where are you from?" because I've lived in so many cities and countries, I normally say Pakistan. Because my grandfather was there, my father was born there, and he came from there. And it's a place that I've heard a lot of stories about. My mother would always tell me, "Don't say that," right? It's a bad thing to say. And I'll come back to this, but it's the conditioning that we are doing of the kids as we are bringing them up. And I've constantly realized that people are living in a world where self-awareness is very low. They don't even know what they want. They've defined a success parameter. What good looks like has been defined by society, by parents, by uncles, by relatives, by teachers, by society, by the social network. And that's what they're running against. They're not really trying to do what they want to do. Third story is from mythology, right? And I thought about it this morning. So the 13th day of Mahabharata, Abhimanyu dies. Abhimanyu is Arjun's son, and Arjun and Krishna on that day are not in the battlefield. They've gone for something. And the Kauravas find this to be an opportunity, so they create a Chakravyuh and they're able to kill Abhimanyu. 7 warriors attack Abhimanyu at the same time, which is violating the code of conduct of battles at that time. When Arjun and Krishna come back, they find out about this. They're very upset, they're very angry, and Arjun takes a vow saying, "Tomorrow before the sun sets, I will kill Jaidarath, who's the guy who killed my son." Now Kauravas find this to be a huge opportunity because their army is huge, right? They've got army of millions. So they put their entire army between Arjun and Jaidarath. What is over? Now, Krishna he's riding the chariot. Arjun is sitting behind. They start. Sun rises and they begin. And they've got kilometers and kilometers of soldiers between them and Jaidarath. By late afternoon, both Arjun and Krishna have understood that we will not make it. The sun will set. We have a few hours left. And we still have kilometers of Kaurava army in front of us. And after some time, sun sets. Arjun gets off the chariot. In those days, sunset means war stops, go back to your camps, come back next day. Arjun gets off the chariot, comes to Krishna and says, time has come. I'm sorry I was not able to save my son. I'm sorry I was not able to kill the guy who killed my son. But I will fulfill my vow and I'll kill myself. On the other side, in the Kaurava's army, they're celebrating. They're rejoicing. They're jumping with joy, saying, yes, we did it. And they're all dancing. And suddenly, Jayadratha springs out of the crowd. And he's standing there and saying, hey, Arjuna, we won. And Krishna at that time says, the sun is not set. I've hidden it. Krishna is God, right? He can do anything. So he says, the sun is not set. I've covered it. Look there. It's coming right back. Take up your bow and arrow. Arjuna kills. Now, people can like this, they can dislike what Krishna did. But in my mind, the learning I've taken is if your big picture is clear, if your larger goals of life are clear, don't get discouraged if there are some things that are going wrong, some things that are going right. Go after your goal. Believe in yourself. Most often, people do not hit their optimal potential because they don't believe in themselves enough. Your limitations are the limitations that you believe are your limitations. You have no limitations. If one of you decide you want to be the president of a country, you absolutely can be. But you need insane self-belief to achieve that. And that's the whole problem in our society, in our world today. In my long life history, decades of working in the corporate world as an entrepreneur and doing various things, meeting various people, my learning is that the majority of the world is living a fake life. The majority of the world is scared. Our self-belief is extremely low. We do not believe I can do anything. We've defined success parameters, what good looks like. As the child is growing up, as he's young, the very early days is marks in school. Now, is it bad to be a topper in your class? Is it bad to be in the top 1%? No, of course not. It's great. Academic success is a great thing. But is it bad if, despite all your effort, you're not able to do it? No, it's fine. There are hundreds and thousands of people we've all come across, I've come across, and my colleagues have come across, who've had great journeys and great careers despite not being the toppers, or not even being in the top 10%. And there are many people who reached the top but didn't do well. In one of our startup companies that we worked, the founder was a top engineering college, top MBA college, great guy, did really well. And we had to get some licenses from, I was based in Bangalore, we had to go to Delhi to get some licenses. The liaison officer who will come and pick us up at the airport, who will take us to the minister's office, and we'll pay him a few thousand every time. He'll go there and he'll spend a few days with us. And one day I asked him, oh, what's your background? How did you get into this? And he said, I'm from this college. The same college that the founder was. So the same top MBA school produced a guy who did really well, built a great career, was the head of a bank, and then started a startup, and somebody else who just could not build a career. And I went back and spoke to my ex-boss, and I said, oh my God, I heard he's from your college. What happened to him? And he said, Neeraj, you won't believe it. This guy was the topper of our batch. I used to pass because of him. Right? He was studying really hard, but he never developed other skills, and his self-confidence is extremely low. So, finally, the message I'm trying to give you is self-belief is extremely, extremely powerful, far more powerful than most of us recognize. The society, the social infrastructure, families, relatives, we are surrounded by insecure people. For no wrong reason. That's been our culture. We are called a society of survival mentality. So should people who are coming from survival mentality not have the courage to take risks? I don't think so. Well, some risks, no, don't take them. Don't jump off a building and say, I'm taking a risk. If you're not well, don't say, I'll operate on myself because I'm taking a risk. Hard work eats intellect for breakfast every day. If you can be extremely intelligent and extremely hardworking, that's ideal. But if you have to pick one, then hard work is up there. So I'm not for a minute saying go watch Netflix all day. All I'm saying is believe in yourself. So I have just 2-3 principles that I'll share with you. One, believe in yourself. Second, think less, do more. Again, the issue I see is I speak to people who are saying, should I do this course or this course? And I meet them after 6 months. And which one do you do? I'm debating, I'm evaluating. Well, by now you could have finished both. So if you have 10 ideas and you keep thinking about 10 ideas, you're not going to win the Nobel Prize. But if you try 10 ideas, 5 will fail, let them fail. There's a learning in everything. 3 might do average, 2 might do well. Maybe all 10 will not do well. But there is a learning in everything. The one big lie we've all been taught is that failure is a bad thing. Failure and mistakes are the best thing that will happen to you. When Manchester United and Arsenal go and play a football match, the team that wins, they go and get drunk. They party, chill. The team that loses goes into hyper-analysis for days and weeks to say which position was right, which position was wrong. So to end this, the last thing, it's not just in the US or UK that people have this confidence, it happens in India too. A very, very close friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine, his son, in 10th grade went to his father and said, I want to drop out of school. And the father is one of those guys who gives his son full belief, and he believes in himself. And the father, after some conversation, said, okay, what do you want to do? I want to play tennis. And he was a good tennis player. Got into tennis, 2 years down the line, had a knee injury, and had to drop out of tennis. Got into cycling, came in India's national cycling team, had another injury, became an entrepreneur. Today, he's a Forbes 30 under 30, he's super successful, has won the President Award, has done really well. So this happens in India too. So don't think these are all things for the Western world only, we can't do them in India. Many, many, many decades ago, we had Krishnas and Arjunas who did that. So believe in yourself, think less, do more, and be fearless. Thank you so much.